Good evening, everyone. How are you all? Happy Sunday. I hope you're having a lovely, lovely, lovely day and you're going to have a lovely evening. It's time for our Sunday evening session with the lovely Jackie McCormick. Our McCormick restorative session with Jackie McCormick. I cannot wait. I'm just bringing it up on my laptop as well, just so that I can see all your comments. And we will wait for Jackie to join. It's a new streaming app that I'm using, so everybody rejoining me on my lives has got to kind of relearn how to do it all a bit. So normally I get a message, a panicked message at some point going, I can't get on. And I'm just like, just follow the link. Follow the yellow brick road. What have you all been up to today? I have been tagged in some fabulous posts where people are out and about competing and have used the hashtag Equiboodle made me do it. So that's amazing. Obviously people are pushing themselves out of their boundaries slightly and making sure they're keeping me informed, which I absolutely love to hear. Being placed at their shows and just, everybody's just loving being back out at the competitions, aren't they? And the competition environment. So I've been having a brilliant day. Seeing all of your tags, do make sure you do tag me in anything that you've been up to this weekend that you're particularly proud of. It doesn't even have to be ponified. I went back to the gym for the first time this morning because the gym has been amazing and has gone online, and then just more recently we were doing sessions outside. But I'd really missed going to the actual gym. So our first session was this morning, and it was a bit weird for me because I've only really been going from work to home and back to work. So I hadn't really been anywhere else for months. So that was a bit of an odd sensation for me, but the gym was amazing and they had put in loads of really good preventative measures. So yeah, over the moon for me to have a little bit of actual normality back with me. And she's struggling to get on. Give me a mo. That's fine. Don't worry about it. You'll get there, Jack. So yeah, for me, it was just amazing to have a little bit of normality back in my weekends, just because I do love going to the gym. I love doing something like that every day. I really cannot advocate daily exercise enough. I know we all know it, but it's the difference between doing it and thinking about it, isn't it? And I'm the first person to think about it and then give myself a million other things that I should be doing, normally work related, so that I don't then go and do that hour of exercise that I know I should do. However, I do burn the calories running around the shop and the warehouse. So I kind of give myself a little bit of a break on that basis. But it was amazing being back at the gym. So that was my highlight for the day. And then at Jackie's request, I put up a no filter photograph on my Instagram and Facebook because Jackie made a very valid point the other day. I'm sure she'll talk about it a little bit more now. And that is, if we spend all day just looking at filtered pictures of ourselves, what does that then tell us when we then see an unfiltered picture of ourselves? And I thought that was such an incredible point to make. And when she does eventually join us, I'll get her to talk about that a little bit more, because it had never actually really resonated with me before. But yeah, if we are all just looking at pictures of ourselves filtered, what happens when we start seeing ourselves unfiltered? How do we feel about that? Do we get so used to seeing the filtered version that we don't quite know how to deal with the unfiltered version? And so on and so forth. Now, tonight, Jackie wants to talk to us more in depth about pre-competition nerves. And again, this is one that really means something to me, because I was one of those people that the minute I paid my entry fees, I then felt sick for the entire rest of the time until the competition was literally over and done with. And Jackie really helped me get that sorted. Emma's just I put my own unfiltered post up. I know, Em, and it was amazing. You're so super beautiful. Super, super naturally beautiful. But Jackie wants to talk to us in further detail about pre-competition nerves, about what you can do to deal with it, what you can do to stop the chattering of your own negative mind. It's ruining the enjoyment for you, because the whole point of competing on our horses is that it's something for us to aim for, something for us to enjoy doing, something to show what we can do. And if you're anything like me, then actually the thought of competing can completely undo work and ridiculously stress me out. But Jackie did sort me out, Jackie and Sarah Stewart, who was on the other day. But I just want to say that I completely understand. She's here. I completely understand anybody's fears, because let me assure you, if any of you guys have ever been scared about competing, I'm the girl. I know. I could cry in the warm-up arena. I could cry in the week leading up to competitions. But get me having done whatever it is, and then back in the lorry and back home, I've had the best day I ever have. So thanks to Jackie for helping me with that. And here she is.
Oh, it's a bit complicated coming onto this thing.
Oh no, is it not just a tap tap tap?
No, I think it's because my laptop's probably not updated enough, and then I had to get the big son to sort it out on my phone. So that's good.
Was that him in the background?
It's all right.
I was having a lovely chat to our followers about what you want to talk about and how you helped me with my pre-competition nerves. Everybody knows you've helped me with, everything in my life.
Not quite everything.
But you did help me with competing and everything as well. And Sarah touched on it briefly yesterday.
Yeah.
But as more of a practical aspect about what you can do with your horses in the run up to competitions. And you are the perfect follow on from that, darling, aren't you? What we can do to stop any negative thoughts pre-competition.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why I sort of thought about this, because I was listening to Sarah yesterday, and she was saying to you, well, you need to go to a sports psychologist. And I was thinking, no, she doesn't.
Just need you.
Well, no, that's being a bit big-headed. I'm not a psychologist, so I must make that clear. I'm not a psychologist, but then I thought, yeah, because obviously all the doors are opening now and everybody's going out competing, or maybe there are those that want to go out competing that are just, a bit scared to do so. So I just thought that if we looked at it really as what's known as sort of performance anxiety, so it can cover a whole host of stuff. It's not just about you and your riding. This would be that I would work with people if they are scared of talking in front of loads of people, or if they've got a play coming up, or if they've all sorts of things really. So it kind of links to that. Or it could even be work, it could be your anxiety around your performance at work. So it's not just about getting on the horse and going out competing. But that's obviously what we're focusing on. So really, performance anxiety is about that we have a tendency to see the competition really as a threat. And we negatively forecast what the outcome will be. And isn't it interesting that, you spoke briefly on Sarah's about the fact that when you did go out and you got second place, yet your story in that's hardwired in your brain is about, oh, I really get scared in the warm-up arena, but yet you don't spend too much time embracing that lovely success.
Yeah, what I actually achieved with the horse.
Yeah, which was massive. But we're like we've always said, we almost say it every week, we're very quick to just bat off that. Oh, well, that was just a fluke, or that was just, the horse was good.
Yeah.
Oh, and I was with Sarah and. But of course, you were the one that was sat on top of the horse.
Yeah, I was. Yeah. I'm very proud of myself.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really about acknowledging, for performance anxiety, it's about acknowledging what's going on in the brain, as always. And we often, when in times of anxiety or stress, the brain will find those negative pathways, whether it's related to riding or not. It will throw at you what it's used to throwing at you around your life. And then it will kind of bring up all sorts of things that you think, well, God, why am I worrying about this? But it doesn't, it knows that you're telling it something that it's going to be scared of. Or, something that you're forecasting isn't necessarily going to be a positive. So it's interesting that sometimes maybe we need to stop and say, well, why do I want to compete? Because if you're telling your brain all the negatives, maybe it also needs to know why it is you're doing what you want to do, and what you're going to get out of it. But of course, if we don't jump onto that just yet, because that's the strategies really. But yeah, so those old pathways are kind of resurrected. And I suppose at the moment, particularly, it's been a long time since people have gone out and gone down that centre line, or started when the bell rings, or I'm in awe of people that go out and compete. I think you're all you're mad, but I think you're amazing. I think it's like it's beautiful to watch. It's just lovely. But that wouldn't necessarily be my thing. Yes, I would like to go out and do one competition, but
don't think we're going to let you not get away with it.
I know. I'm keeping an eye on all the horses on the wonderful Instagram stream and thinking, oh, that one looks quite safe. Oh, that one doesn't look quite so safe.
Love it. If anybody doesn't understand what we're talking about, Jackie has made it her mission to do a dressage test within a year. So we've all got her back, but there's one thing missing.
We need a horse. We need a nice, safe horse. Yes, I mean, I could ride our big Aussie, but he would throw me out the saddle. Just be like, his movement would be far too big. So it's kind of acknowledging that, with this sort of performance anxiety, what of course we are doing is we're putting pressure on ourselves. Yeah. And I know a lot of the top athletes would say, well, that's good. It's good to put pressure on yourselves because it gives you that drive. But even if you Google performance anxiety or sports psychology, all these guys and women that work with top athletes will always say they also suffer, if not more sometimes, from the same level of anxiety, because of course they have to be perfectionists. And, our brain isn't really evolved to be a perfectionist all the time. Our brain is evolved to just kind of like, take on stuff every now and again, but not, that sort of absolute drive. And when you've had, some amazing people on your lives talking about what they do, and like Sarah yesterday, was it yesterday? It was yesterday. Yeah. Talking about, if she misses a movement in the Grand Prix, she does a Grand Prix. I mean, hello. But
it's actually as well.
Yeah, she's doing a Grand Prix. But what she does is, of course, she like she said, she's more trained. She's trained herself to move on to the next movement, rather than see it as a complete failure. And I didn't do a circle at F or whatever it is, and oh my God, So her brain trusts her.
Yes.
Yeah, so her brain trusts her. But also what she's not doing, what we would do is, if we are negatively forecasting the performance, then of course we're setting our whole body up to not work for us. And they know, and they suggest that, when we stimulate that level of anxiety or cortisol, then our whole body, obviously it's going to get tense. Our motor movements don't work as well for us. So you may find that even preparing yourself for the competition, you keep dropping stuff. And you just kind of like, and you can't plait properly, and you can't,
So true. And people that just go, I've forgotten how to ride.
All the time. I've forgotten how to play golf. I've forgotten how to ride. I just can't do it anymore.
Yes.
So if your brain is kind of telling your body it's stressed and it's anxious prior to this massive event that's coming up, because of course we build it up into a massive event, then it's got to protect you. So it starts saying, well, should I allow you to do this? You know,
Mm-hmm.
should you really be doing this big scary thing? And we get snappy, and we forget stuff, and we get. I mean, we start having a go at loved ones.
All right, Jack.
Do you recognise yourself?
Oh, yes. But it's
Well,
so true.
yeah. I mean, even as the mum, taking my children out to compete, not so much my daughter because she was like, get on with it. But, I was feeling those levels of anxiety. And also what we're very bad at is comparing ourselves to other people. And so I would look at the big posh lorries and think, oh, well, I've got my little old white, dirty, green trailer. Just like, and we rock up and there's all these big Oakleys and stuff. So, as much as you want to say it shouldn't matter and it's what comes off the lorry that's important, or the person that's on it, we're very good at comparing ourselves. So that sets us up for being anxious. And then when we get anxious, we forget how to tack up the horse properly. We sort of leave one of the thingies undone, or we leave the boots on in a dressage competition.
Yeah.
Because our brain's not working best for us. It's not working at its peak.
Yeah.
Because all we're doing is giving it a negative light and filling it full of that cortisol. So we sweat, our palms sweat, we might get shaky even, and we get tense. So you all know what that does to your horse when you get on it. So when you get in the warm-up arena, you're feeling all of those things, I would imagine. Feeling a bit sick inside, and so what's feeling it the most? It's going to come through your backside and your legs and your hands. So the thing that you want to perform the best for you is the horse, and the thing that is really struggling to understand what's going on is the horse. Because you're feeding it, you're trembling, you're anxious, you're tight. So your hands are tight on the reins, your knees are tight, and so, I mean, obviously this isn't going to happen all the time. To those of you who go out and compete and you really enjoy it and it's great, then, fantastic. You've got the ability to not get anxious. And a wee bit of...
My problem was, Jack, I used to get myself so wound up in the warm-up arena that I would be exhausted by the time I went to do the actual test. It could be in 10 or 15 minutes, but that I had so much adrenaline, or whatever you'd say it is, pumping through me. But by the time I actually made it into the arena, I was pooped. Had nothing left.
Absolutely shattered. Shattered. And also I know that when you're in the warm-up arena, you're looking at everybody else as much as you think you're not. Of course you are.
I'm like a cartoon character. Like, and then you spot a famous rider, and then that is computer graphic game over for me. It's such a massive mental stumbling block for me.
Yeah. And that is perfectly understandable, and we must never ever knock people that feel like that, because that's a normal human interaction and a normal kind of like response. Because often what it is that if we have a pattern in our lives about other stuff that we negatively forecast, and that we panic about and all the rest of it, how can our brains think that when we go to a competition that everything is absolutely fine and wonderful? So we have to treat our brains that when we go to competitions, or we are going to go on the stage or whatever, that actually we've got some tools in our toolkit that we can bring out at this moment in time. And so we have to be able to build them in, but call on past patterns of behavior, so they can pattern match, so it can find the pattern match. Have we done something like this before? If we haven't, yes, we might get really excited and we challenge ourselves and we feel flipping brilliant afterwards, because we're like, yes, I've done it. It's amazing. But probably we've got somewhere in our brains a pattern match of us feeling like that before about something else. Not necessarily riding. It could be a time when you passed your driving test. It could be a time when you brought out those gorgeous gloves and you're like, hey, look at these gloves, people, and you could see it on your face. You could see that happiness and that, I've done it, look how amazing these are. So your brain is used to you challenging yourself and then finding you know, the sort of the pattern and going, okay, well, we can do this.
Yeah.
Obviously, then something bigger like going out to competition, unless we prepare for it and we just smack it on in there, it goes, whoa, hang on a minute. This is a bit different. I haven't done this for a while. What's expected of me? And all of you, I'm sure, see, I can't see that there's anybody there because I can't see any comments. I'm assuming there are people there.
I'm ready to read you some comments.
This is such a weird one, this one.
Oh, well, Sharon's put, I definitely feel more stressed out about dressage, but I feel excited about jumping competitions. So what must that do? Trigger different reactions?
Yeah, definitely. And there will be a comparison thing going on there as well. I would imagine, you know, you might think, well, everybody else is better than me. Everybody else knows what they're doing with dressage. You know, because it can be. I mean, I love it, love watching it. I think it's fabulous. But so, you know, potentially that's what you're doing is you're comparing yourself.
Yeah.
Maybe subconsciously, but you know, you definitely will be. But you know that you can show jump. You know that you're good at show jumping. You know you love it. So your brain trusts you doing it.
And I wonder as well if people portray some things onto their horse. So I'm not necessarily suggesting that Sharon does this, but I definitely have had horses in the past that I'd confidently tell you, Jackie, well, Mickey can jump anything, but he's rubbish at dressage, and therefore would feel more confident about jumping than I would do about dressage.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But you know, your horse isn't going to go and do jumping or well, it might jump in the field, but it's not going to do any of those things without you on it, is it?
No.
To kind of like, you know, you challenge it, you kind of like lead it, you're in control of it. So Sarah, when she's doing her Grand Prix, is in control of her horse. Her horse wouldn't do those movements on its own.
No.
You know.
I mean, it's good, but it's not that good.
No, exactly.
And then, go on.
No, you're gone. Carry on.
I was saying then Jem's put, it's funny because I went to dressage on Friday and I knew the test. I'd learnt it, but as I was about to walk in, I suddenly panicked because I thought I couldn't remember it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So, you know, you feel good. And how many times does that happen to people? It just, you know, in everything, your driving tests, I know I've mentioned it, but in your driving test, it's gone. And all that is the fog comes up into the brain, your amygdala goes on guard, and it just has to protect you. So it says, well, what we're doing, you keep telling me is not really right, so I'm not going to let you do it.
Is that why we have a mind blank? Because it's our brain protecting us and going...
Because you keep telling it it's something scary. You know, it thinks it's that big monster coming to get it. And even, you know, even though you're in the warm-up, I would imagine, and you're going round, and people often say they were beautiful in the warm-up. They were just so lovely in the warm-up. Well, why is that? Because one, you're not in front of the judge. The judge isn't watching you in the warm-up. Two, yes, you are often more relaxed. Not you, Vic, but... and you're more relaxed. Your horse is more relaxed. And then the minute that other person comes out of the arena and you're going in, of course, for a lot of people, you know, a lot of people don't get this. But then you're like, oh, and it just, you know, you get that initial flood of cortisol. You get the cortisol in your body and it just goes, oh, Christ, what's coming to get us? What is it?
Well, you see, the thing is for me, when I was going to do my tests, is that although I would feel, you know, as you know, pretty grim in the lead up to it, I also had the best high after it. Like, I would be like in the car park going, I love this so much. I never want to. Whereas, like, Sarah could go and do her Grand Prix test, drive home really calmly, and then be back teaching 2 hours later. Whereas for me, that's like the whole day is finished, and I'm like, I've just got to go and tell everyone I did a competition now.
Yeah.
So I think it's difficult for the amateur rider, like I was, when you've almost got to go through these obstacles once a month or once a fortnight, because that's how often you can get out competing realistically. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. So to manage our performance anxiety, if you look at the strategies, one of the most important things is sleep. And we'll go on to talk about, you know, the other things about rehearsing and stuff. But sleep, if we don't sleep well, leading up to a competition or any time, to be honest, because sleep is one of the most important things in our life. And we've spoken about it before, but it helps to empty our stress bucket. If your stress bucket is full and you've now signed up to a competition, you just put something else in your stress bucket. And if you're not getting good sleep, then it's not going to work for you. So it's understanding that there are definite things that are going to happen to our system. And if we don't want to feel that level of anxiety, then these are the things we have to do about it. There are things you can do about it. And if you just keep saying to yourself, well, that's just me, I just always feel stressed before a competition. Well, then if you don't want to feel stressed before a competition, do something about it. So sleep is one of the fundamental things. So if we should on average get about 8 hours sleep a night, a lot of people don't. But we know for brain health that 8 hours, 7 to 8 hours a night is really what we should be getting. And that then helps us physically. It helps us to think clearly. It helps us to plan. So when you're going to a competition, you have to plan. Generally you have to plan. You have to think, what have I got to take? Blah, 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 blah. All of those things. If you're anxious and your stress bucket's full, you aren't going to be able to plan very well. So you're doing it off the hoof. Hey, that's a good one. You're doing it off the... Anyway, so also one of the techniques is really important is to build your self-confidence. And we've spoken again a lot about self-confidence, is that belief in your ability. So if you're good at show jumping, but you think you're not so good at the dressage, that's the story you're telling yourself. But your brain needs to know, like I mentioned earlier, that you're good at other things. So that's when we go back to what am I good at? What's been good about my week? What's good about me? I noticed that not a lot of people did that one.
I noticed that too. We're going to see that one again, I reckon.
Isn't that interesting? Isn't that
so interesting?
It's fascinating. Yeah, but I mean, Instagram went very quiet on that one. But the one about what...
Yeah.
But your brain needs to know that you are good at other stuff. And it's not just about when you go out competing. So it needs to know, well, I've done other things that I am good about, that I feel good about. And so certainly when I know sports psychologists work with teams, say basketball teams or, American football teams and all the rest of it, they really start to, with kids particularly, get the kids to start looking at their skills in other areas of their life. So it's not all hinged on their ability to be a great basketball player. It's because if that goes wrong, of course, that's when the mental health really kicks in, and depression and stuff like that can really affect athletes, the sort of top athletes. So they have to be able to look at what else they're good at, and so do we, because our brain needs to trust that we're going to try something new and we're okay because we've tried new things before. And yes, it might be a wee bit stressful, but that's, a little bit of anxiety is not a bad thing if we can feed it in the right direction.
Yeah.
So sleep, techniques to build self-esteem. Like I say, look at what you do well in general in life, and don't just prep yourself prior to the competition, because your brain needs to know you've done it before. So this is when we talk about the repetition. So Sarah talked about that. She doesn't always go down the centre line. She doesn't always do all the movements, but she knows it very well inside her head. Her brain knows what she's going to do. But you don't just have to do it on the back of a horse. You can rehearse the moves in your head. You can draw them out in your lounge. You can put, whatever. I mean, obviously you can't put a load of jumps in your lounge, but it's just rehearsing, seeing yourself doing it. And that's not just seeing yourself doing it perfectly all the time. Seeing yourself asking the question, well, what would I like to improve? Not, I need to win. I need to get the red, whatever it is. What small steps? What would I like to improve?
Waiting for that.
It's always bloody small steps. But it is, because if certainly in the dressage, if you think, well, okay, my circles aren't so good. Well, what do you need to improve? I need to improve my circles. And so that's what I'm going to work on. But not beat yourself up that each test you do isn't perfect. And I know it's easier said than done, but sometimes we have to actually say enough is enough. What can I improve on in that? And then break it down to small steps. But also ask your brain, okay, what am I like when I'm at home? When I'm riding at home? What do I look like?
I look like Charlotte Desjardins at
I
home.
know you do. I know you do. And Abby and Sarah. um, but you know, that thing of, well, what do I look like when I'm with my trainer? How am I when I'm on my own riding my horse? What's my confidence level when I'm on my own? What's my confidence level when I'm with my trainer? And then what's my confidence level when I'm out in the ring? And use if your confidence level when you're at home and you're feeling safe, of course, is good, then look to transfer that into when you're in the competition. Talk to your brain, talk to it, tell it, talk to the chattering voice that is sort of saying, yeah, but you're rubbish at this, aren't you? You always get that wrong, don't you? Oh, you're always rubbish in the warm-up arena, you just can't do it. That's when you have to put your big pants on and really acknowledge it. Don't try and switch it off completely, because what you're having to respect that's your brain. Your brain's having these thoughts and these feelings. So, and it is your amygdala, it's your limbic system. But acknowledge it, and then almost, you don't want to spend hours acknowledging it, for goodness sake. You want to spend like a couple of minutes saying, here it comes. Here's that thought. It's coming back again. And then find a strategy of telling it it's okay and it's safe.
Lara's given us a really great strategy, just to interrupt you right there, but she has put, I visualise me riding the test from the on the horse position, picturing me in the actual arena I'll be in, both the night before and again as soon as I wake up. And then one last time when I get there, I find it really helps me.
Yeah, fantastic. Fantastic.
Lara. So, that says it all, really.
That is, well, of course, that's the strategy that I would be teaching people, is to one, feel safe looking at you.
Yes.
We talked about this before.
Oh, yes.
When I was away in the Gower this week, so the place I was staying, she's got horses and stuff, and she rides and she competes and what have you, but she hasn't competed for quite a while. And we were talking about it, and she was saying, well, could this help, and blah blah blah. So rather than the negative talk, it was very much, well, what would you be looking like? What would you be wearing? And she just flew with it. She designed this waistcoat, and it's going to have navy blue with a kind of beautiful mustard, and then she's going to get the new blue hat, and I said, so we were painting the picture. So actually her brain forgot about the fact, the thing that was worrying her about riding, the competition. She was able to visualize herself looking stunning in this self-designed outfit. And it doesn't matter if, when, I think we said it weeks and weeks ago, when people say, oh God, all the gear, no idea. So bloody what?
Yes, so what?
So what?
Putting on that jacket adjusts your mind frame. That jacket's done its job, and you look
Hasn't
amazing.
It just? Yeah. And that's about self-confidence.
Yeah.
That's about what will help me to get through this.
Of course.
And if it's having a beautiful jacket on and gorgeous boots, and go for it. If that's your thing. If it's not, well then don't. That's up to you. But the visualization technique is so important, because not everybody needs to use it, but if you're anxious and you're going into the ring, the warm-up arena, and you've never been there before, or your brain thinks it's never been there before, of course it's going to go, what the hell? And then those things.
Can I just ask, what's your opinion then on people wearing like lucky pants and stuff?
I think that's up to you. I think if you feel that keeps you safe, do it. It's a bit, I suppose it's a little bit like if you take paracetamol and you think it gets rid of your headache. Who knows? The research is such that probably doesn't, but just kind of, we think it does, so it works. And that's a good thing. Absolutely. Yeah. And, I know that certain people have certain rituals and stuff before they go into competitions, or before they, that's fine. It's not hurting anybody. As long as it doesn't become obsessional and then you think you're a complete failure because you forgot to do your ritual. Because then, of course, you can come up with oh, well, it's because I didn't do it. See, I told you if I'd have done it, it would have been absolutely fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Emma's put right on cue there. I had lucky socks. They had heifer lumps from Winnie the Pooh on.
oh,
Oh.
but if they made you feel comfortable, then that's another tick box, isn't it? That's something that made you feel safe. So inside your brain, you're saying to your brain, well, I've got my lucky socks on. So it reduces your level of anxiety.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's that's absolutely fine. Nothing wrong in that at all.
Yeah.
It just just that reducing that anything you can do to just cut down that cortisol. So something like just moving.
Yeah.
So prior to going to competition, what do? You get the horse ready, you plait up, blah, 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 blah. You get in the car or the lorry or wherever, and then you get there and it's all about the horse. And you're stiff. You'll find your shoulders are a wee bit like, because everything's like this. So in order to reduce the power of the cortisol, you have to move. Now, someone like Maeve would say this, I'm sure she would say, movement is good for the brain. So even just, not that we want everybody running around and spooking all the horses, but just but to do some stretches, to do some just kind of like get in your lorry and do something, or in your trailer, but move, because then what you're doing is you're moving the stuff around your body, you're expelling it.
Good idea. Yeah, I've never thought about that, because I would be the one, like you said, fumbling around in my anxiety, tacking up the horse, leaving bits out of the keepers, then realizing can't find my whip or my lucky whatever, I am painting worst case scenario, but I just want people to understand that I totally get it. And then of course you get legged up onto the horse and you're away like, oh, I'm here. I think sometimes how lovely would it be for me just to be able to go and stretch out. It's invariably a longish journey to get to the venue.
Yeah,
absolutely. Lovely idea.
And the other thing, of course, is so we've got sleep, exercise, or releasing our muscles, because we know when cortisol goes into the system, it goes into the muscles, and we have to expel it. And if we don't expel it, it's going to retain itself in there. But also, kind of eating well and not drinking caffeine or Red Bull.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I know a lot of people do, and it's kind of, but again, if you want to cut down on all of your anxiety, then these are some of the things that might help you. So if you don't drink caffeine or as much caffeine prior to the competition, maybe eating like a carb diet or something. So that soaks up your anxiety, because it's in your gut, isn't it?
Yeah, we should get Joe, our nutritionist friend, back on soon, shouldn't we, to remind people about this, or get the pair of you on now that we can do it. But she'd say exactly the same as you. She'd be like, just have some pasta the night before. Do whatever you need to do to get you through, but try and avoid the Mars bar and the can of it's actually just not going to help.
It fizzes you up, doesn't it? It just kind of like, and I suppose if we want our horses to be responsive to our hands and our seat, then again, take that on board, that what you're putting through your body is going to go through your horse, because they're so responsive, aren't they, through their backs and their mouths.
Just mirror you, don't they? They will just mirror you. So
yeah, definitely. So the sort of, getting your sleep right, looking at your diet, looking at when you get to the competition, allow enough time, so you can maybe have a little bit of a movement, stretching or something to release that tension in your body, but also releasing the cortisol.
Maeve has put, oh yes, I've shared a few warm-ups on my page, so everybody, that is activate your feet.
Yes.
So shared a few warm-up videos on my page, and a few rounds in the bungee is fab for activating the correct muscles and calming the mind.
There you go. You see, fabulous stuff. Fabulous. Yeah, definitely.
I never dream of thinking about doing stuff like this, but when you say it, it becomes obvious.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that, you know, a lot of our top riders, you know, that we know that they have an exercise routine, don't they? You know,
Yeah.
and they have sort of sports psychologists and coaches and everybody fine tuning their brain and their body. But you know, the brain's got to be with the body, because you know, without your brain, you ain't got your body. So you know, allowing it to kind of understand what's going to happen. So, and
Yeah.
also pre-warning it. So yes, rehearse, but maybe also, if you realize that you are somebody that does everything at the last minute, well, stop doing everything at the last minute then and start planning.
You're aggressive now, people. Stop it. But
Just stop it.
there is, can't pander to that. Stop it. Preparation, guys.
If you
Preparation.
want to be better and you want to enjoy it, and you want to do well, then yeah, come on, you
Yeah.
know, because
Yeah.
last minute stuff, some people say, oh, I'm better last minute, you know, I never rehearse, well, then that's great. Well done. Brilliant. If it works for you. If it
Yeah.
doesn't work for you, then what are you going to do? What small step are you going to take to sort that out? You know, and that could be that you do prep yourself.
Yeah.
You write it down in a notebook. You know, you have a visual guide to what you need to do. Because the horse doesn't like it when you're stressed, and then they won't bloody load properly, and you know, that kind, or you can't get them in from the field even. But you know, all of that stuff, the horse is going to feed that off you, aren't they? They're just going to kind of. So it's of course, planning is a good thing,
I used to have
and allowing the brain.
I used to have a notebook. I didn't have it last year, custard, but when back in the day when I was more
Back in the day.
more regular competition circuit, I had a little hardback notebook, and it had my list in there. So everything that I always needed to take to the show, it would have little reminders about what worked at that show, good things about showground venues, and have the
Yes.
most delicious evenings in the run up to the competitions. The younger me, just going back through that notebook, back through my checklist, making sure everything was packed and ready to go, remembering what the showground was like, and it was just flooding my brain back then with just loveliness and forward to it. I loved that note.
Yeah. I see. That's such a beautiful idea, isn't it? You know, and you know, put in your notebook. Make sure you take spare bands. You know, all the things that you just kind of know, kind of like that bloody plat's falling out again. You know, kind of. But yeah, take the time.
Yeah.
And realize that if you don't, you're going to get stressed. And if you don't want to get stressed, yes, of course, there are certain things that you can do to help it. And again, Maeve will talk about this, but that, you know, the breathing. You know, the exercise, the moving is really important, but using that breathing and that, I don't know what she calls it, but that 4, you know, when you breathe in for 4, you hold it, you breathe out for 4. It's a square thing, isn't it, or something like that? But yeah, I mean, breathing, of course, we know calms down this system of ours, and it puts us into the right frame of mind. Literally puts us into the right frame of mind.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why your instructors always say to you, and breathe.
Yeah.
It's just, but maybe you need to do a bit more than just breathe. You know, maybe you need to train yourself to breathe effectively, something that really works for you, something that works for your body, you know, and it gives you the right chemical reaction. So if you're breathing properly, eating properly, sleeping properly, you're going to get your happy chemicals working much more effectively.
Box breathing.
That's what it's called. Square. That's what, yeah, square breathing.
I got you. Maeve's on it. And again, Maeve over on her IGTVs on Activate Your Seat has actually got little videos dedicated to us for breathing. Because the one thing, the biggest thing I realised when nothing to do with riding at this point, but when I took up some yoga and then first started going to the gym last year, I had no idea how to breathe.
No.
And also couldn't do it properly for ages either. My body was so conditioned to just shallow breathe all the time. I never thought I'd hear myself say that because it just sounds so random, but breathing exercise
so important.
Yeah.
And again, you know, I guess if you're show jumping, you know, everything's much quicker, isn't it? Hoo, 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 hoo. But you've still got to breathe. You've still got to breathe, because otherwise you die. You're gonna like fall off the horse and die. But if you're breathing, I guess, more effectively, your whole body is going to work better physically for you as well.
Yeah.
You know, so if you are, you know, and I'm sure with eventing, oh my gosh, you have to breathe. It's like, woohoo.
They are just an incredible breed, all of these competitive lot. I mean, it's amazing how they do it all. But
Incredible. Yeah, incredible. Yeah.
But breathing is a brilliant thing.
Breathing's good. So yeah. Oh, the other thing, and you've sort of touched on this a wee bit, is that we have to celebrate the effort. Not celebrate your winnings necessarily, because that's always good, but actually celebrate your effort. Allow yourself, and this is the thing about what are you good at?
Yes.
Just come on, people. Say, yeah, I can bloody do it. It's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and if you can say, well, I'm good at plaiting.
Yeah.
Look at my horse. How hot is he? Yeah. All these little things. Also, if it's important to you, build yourself a support group around you.
Yes.
But not a group that's going to pick at everything you do.
No. Under the disguise of trying to be supportive or constructive criticism. We don't need that. No.
Do you know, when we've been to some like unaffiliated competitions, but also BD and stuff, and these kids have got their trainer and they've got the mics in the warm-up. And I'm like, oh my God, really? But you know, of course I get it. Of course I do.
Yeah.
But there's never any break for that child. You know, it's just like constant. Yes, I absolutely get that, you know, that child is maybe heading for great things. But sometimes just let them in there and just, you know, try it out for themselves and kind of like feel good. So yeah, build up your support network.
Well, what happens when that microphone gets taken away and that child is suddenly a young adult, maybe without that warm-up mic? Just saying.
Just saying. I get you. Yeah. It's like, there's me. Put your heels down.
I picture you like an old-fashioned trumpet with your children. You're going to get fine.
Maisie would tell me to off.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah. So a support group is good for you. And also looking at what you want to improve, and we mentioned that, breaking it down into the steps. But if you go wrong, say in the test, or you knock a pole. Now, I had a lovely message of somebody last week, and she'd been out show jumping, and she said it was incredible. She felt fantastic, but she was eliminated. But it was so lovely to see that she actually saw what she did was really good and really beneficial.
Love that.
And it wasn't all, you know, we were eliminated. So she looked at the whole and she celebrated her effort.
Love it.
Isn't it? It's just gorgeous.
Because, I mean, I like to compete when I have horses because I like to have an aim towards my riding. Yeah. But I'm not, I'm happy to be placed. But for me, literally some days just getting there and doing it and then soaking up the atmosphere afterwards is all I need.
Yeah, having that bacon butty.
Oh, the chat with your friends in the car parks, and remember those days when we were around a lorry and all of that jazz.
Yeah, it's lovely. I mean, that's something again that you can pre-warn your brain. You can educate your brain that that's what you're going to have after the competition. Yeah. So you don't just focus on the competition. You focus on that loveliness of meeting your mates and having that bacon sandwich or whatever it is you have, and being able to take off your stock and just, you know, have a chat. And the horse just stood there eating the grass, and, you know, because sometimes if we just focus on the competition, you're also telling yourself there's nothing to kind of look forward to. It's not, you know, it's all about the competition. Yes. But, you know, obviously for, you know, our professional athletes, it's all about the competition. Yeah. But if what you're saying, if people are saying, I get very anxious about going out competing, then if you want to make it a better experience, make it a whole experience.
Yeah.
And it's not just that, however long it takes you to go around the show jump arena.
Now, darling, we've only got 10 minutes left. So I'm just, in case there's anything more you wanted to do or say to us, if you want to invite any questions.
Just one thing is also to not make the journey home hell. Do not make the journey home a critique of the day. Wait till you get back. Enjoy the journey home. Sit, say nothing. Sit, listen to music. Do whatever, but do not allow whoever's with you or yourself to turn it into, you know, that analysing every single move and making yourself feel shit.
It's so true. And actually, one of the things I clocked about Sarah when she used to take me places is we never discussed it in the lorry on the way home. It would be like, we'd be in the car park, we'd be boxing them back up, and she'd be like, I loved that, that was rubbish, you knew you did wrong there, you know, but it doesn't matter, blah, 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 we'll work on that, we're going to do this. Then we got in the lorry, and then it would be like, did you watch that thing on TV last, you know?
Perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Yeah. Because if you do that, and this is something that for kids particularly, you know, that compete in riding and other sports, that journey home is hell, because they know a lot of them, they're going to get it.
I hadn't thought of it like that.
Yeah, they're going to get it. It's not good, is it?
So many people have put, Maeve's put, oh my God, that is good advice, not picking it apart on the way home. So true. Never even thought of it, Jack.
I know. You've got to have, you know, that's not to say we don't do it. God, of course we do. But, you know, again, if you're looking at strategies, then, you know, make that a conscious effort. The journey home has either got to be about watching television or about eating sweets.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, having a giggle, making it part of the whole day. And then,
Yeah. Because I've been guilty of that. You know, I've kind of said to Finn, let's read through the sheets. You know, shouldn't be doing that, really. Shouldn't be doing that. Wait till you're at home and the horse is in bed and all that kind of stuff.
Sharon's put, love that, well said. I completely agree. That Sharon had never, this is what I love about Jackie. Just when you think goes and pops out something that we've never even thought about. Maeve's put, God, this is interesting, Jack. That's the number one reason kids give up on a sport.
Yes. Absolutely. And there's a massive thing about parental pressure, massive stuff, loads of studies. I love it, about the pressure that we put on our kids to perform. And then, of course, they put on themselves to perform. And it's that, you know, I'm never good enough. And it's a tough one. It's like, well, who's competing here? Is it the parent or is it the child?
And so basically, anybody that ever watches this, because loads of people now listen to these as podcasts, you see, Jack. If you're a trainer, or you are you're the husband or the partner, whatever you are to that person, but you're driving that lorry home or you're the companion, don't discuss it.
Talk something rubbish.
Yeah.
Talk something fun. Have a sing song. Whatever. I mean, they're probably going to be knackered because they've had so much like stress and anxiety.
Let them sleep. Surely
let them sleep.
Yeah. I know. I need to kip. Honestly, I'm just enough. I could go Sarah does and go and teach for the rest of the afternoon.
But like she said, it's her job. You know, that's what she does, isn't it? That's her job. Yeah. That's like.
Oh, Emma's just put Percy Pigs are the lorry staple.
Yes, they are.
Oh, I love you, Emma.
And the snakes, those snakes.
Oh, yes. Emma, I'll come and be your lorry companion any day. At TV and eat your Percy Pigs.
Any day.
Now, we've only got a few minutes left, so if anybody has got anything they would like Jackie to try and answer quickly, do speak now, forever hold your peace.
Mindfulness as well. The other thing is get into the mindfulness routine, because mindfulness but that's basically saying be in the moment, you know, be with it. And mindfulness is really good for all sorts of stuff anyway, isn't it? We know that. But yeah, sorry, I just forgot that.
I you could do a whole session on mindfulness, and I reckon you could give us another one of your little stories. I think everyone
a little sesh.
Yeah.
Little sesh.
Because now there is a degree of normality that I
Yeah.
think new normal, but now there is a degree of normality. I think everybody would really appreciate that again. Jane does lorry karaoke on the way
Oh,
home.
of course.
I'll come with you as well, Jane.
Yeah. Oh,
Love
we always have a sing song. It's like, I can't sing. Always have a sing song.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love hearing what people are doing.
Oh.
Maeve said, interestingly enough, earlier, I don't know if I said it, at least 90% of riders she assesses don't breathe effectively. I didn't want to.
Wow.
Oh, that, I mean,
That's a
guys.
big number, eh?
Yeah.
And that must affect their riding. It must affect their riding.
Right. Here's a quick one for you. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to do this. Anthea has put, I have a PIP assessment on Wednesday where I have to talk about all my failings. How
No.
do I myself up after that? I mean, Anthea, God bless your soul. I don't think 2 minutes is enough, but I mean,
Why?
what
Why?
is preparation the key to this? To tell your brain this is just a factual thing you have to do?
Why do you have to talk about your failings? That's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. But act it out, kind of make it, like you say, make it a story, but kind of but have that little voice inside that goes, oh, I'm not really that bad. I'm not really that bad. I mean, I would really question that strategy anyway, and I don't know why you're having to do it. So, I'd need a lot more information, but yeah, bad strategy.
Department of Health. God, Department of Health. Look at me and Jack. We're like,
what? Get them to ring me.
Yeah. Check back with us, Anthea, on Boodlebox if you need to, darling. Maeve, I have been known to bash out a bit of The Greatest Showman on the way home. Well, as long as it's not that sad song, the one where she cries about how she loved and lost. As long as it's not that one. You know the one I mean? I can't think what that song
Fantastic. I love it. But it'd be nice to hear about all of you that are out competing. Let us know how you get on and what strategies you've decided that you're going to give a go and have use. Yeah, fantastic.
Share them on here because we can all. I know you can't see the comments now, Jack, but they're on Boodlebox forever, so people can read through the comments and message and do anything they need to do, which is lovely. So I'd love to see people's pre-competition suggestions, anything you do for preparation, like me with my old notebook. Oh, I love that.
It.
What do you do in the lorry on the way home? Let us know if you can.
And what do you do on the lorry on the way there as well?
Yeah, it's as valuable, isn't it?
Isn't it? Because if you're sat there all quiet and stiff and scared, the minute you get off the lorry, you're going to be like this. So yeah, what strategies can you use on the lorry on the way there?
Amazing. Oh, Jack, love you lots. Thank you so much for this. I mean, I feel like I could go and do I might have to go and do one of Ruth's hobby horse dressage tests. I feel so inspired.
First step. What small step? Yeah. Hobby horse test.
Well, I wish everybody an amazing rest of their evening and a fantastic week. And if you ever need Jackie, you can always find Jackie at JMC Hypnotherapy. Isn't that right, darling?
You certainly can.
You can always reach out directly to Jackie, and Boodlebox is always here if you ever need the whole tribe. And have an amazing night, Jack. And
yes, you too, gorgeous.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.